So with weathering, we also talk about differential weathering, which is just some combination of physical and chemical weathering. And this is important because with physical weathering, we're creating more surfaces where chemical weathering can take place. And the more chemical weathering occurs, the more physical weathering is possible, etc. Just as an example of this, let's take a look at this block of rock. If we were to cut it once from the front, once from the side, and once from the top, we would see that just by making those 3 cuts in the rock, or we can think of those as maybe cracks that were formed from joints that occurred in the rocks, we can expose the surface area that is going to have water in it from 24 square units to 48. So essentially, just by making those 3 breaks in the rocks, we have doubled the amount of surface area that's exposed to chemical weathering there. And if we do it again, if we take each of these and cut them in half 3 ways, we would then once again double that surface area that's exposed to chemical weathering. So by breaking up the rocks, we can cause more chemical weathering, and with more chemical weathering, more things are going away, and it's more likely frost wedging can push a piece of this rock off, etc. Because of all of this going on, we can get some unusual landforms, such as this here, where we have these joints through the rocks that are assisting with this differential weathering, and we can get something like this, which is sometimes called a balanced rock. The balanced rock looked like someone carried it up there and put it there, but actually it just had more eroded away beneath it because of the way that the joints in this area intersected and allowed for this differential weathering. This is a famous example of differential weathering. This is Delicate Arch in Arches National Park. So it's the name of this particular arch is Delicate Arch. And we can see a couple of things here. These are all layers of sandstone. This was one big layer of sandstone here, but we can see some of the smaller layers within it cutting across here. It's definitely had some chemical weathering associated with it because of the rusty red color associated with it. But for some reason, part of the lower part here got eroded away, or got weathered away more rapidly than the top part here. And this is just the result of differential weathering. This started out as just a big slab of rock here, which had some joints developed into it. Water was able to seep into those joints and perhaps stayed longer in those joints than it did on the surface. So the differential weathering started to occur near the base here. And over time, as more area is exposed and more chemical weathering can go on, it can actually create these passageways through the rocks here. And over time, as the rest of the rocks are worn away, we're just left with this thing that this arch here, in this case, Delicate Arch, that is not going to last forever, but while it does last, is a very spectacular sort of landform. Another thing that can happen with differential weathering is sometimes we can direct a lot of flow into one particular area. So here we have 2 layers of sedimentary rocks. We have a shale on the bottom and a sandstone on the top. And even though sandstone looks like a solid rock, if you've ever held one, water will typically slowly permeate through most sandstones. And it's just there's empty spaces between the grains of sand, and that allows for water to go through. But shale, the size of the passageways between the individual particles of mud is too small for it to pass through. So we say that this is permeable rock, like a sponge, and this is impermeable, like a countertop. So as the water comes through here, it hits this layer of shale. This is just groundwater. This is water that's moving through the ground, in this case a layer of sandstone. And because all of the output of the groundwater is focused in this one particular area, we can get differential weathering occurring right along this boundary. And so we'll have both, we'll have more chemical weathering going on here, which is going to lead to more physical weathering. And it's not quite a cave system, but we kind of get this indentation in the rocks in this area where those 2 layers meet. And that is called a niche, N-I-C-H-E. And these niches are important for Native Americans in the southwestern United States. Mesa Verde is a nice example of where structures were built right into the niches as sort of a protective strategy to to be in this little area along the cliffs. It was inaccessible by any enemies, and people could live in these sorts of areas. So once again, an example here of a niche in Mesa Verde National Park.